7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
The Savachi syndrome, I'm telling you, I'm like, well, holy shit, that was crazy. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Moto Aftermath Show, presented by TLR Coatings. Don't forget to visit them for all your powder coat needs. We are doing a Tampa wrap-up show today. I'm coming to you guys live from Walt Disney World. I'm here for a couple of weeks on a little family vacation. Justin, hopefully we'll get him on the phone later in the show here. I thought we were doing it right now. He didn't answer. I don't have time to wait around, so I guess we're gonna do my thoughts, and then if he calls during the show here, we'll get him on. So let's start off, as per usual, boring paperwork stuff. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook. We are doing lots of different posts, pictures. Sometimes I'll do results, which I know, Bill, you called me out last night, like, we don't all get to watch the race live. If I don't get to watch the race live, I don't even look at my phone at this point. So sometimes I'll be doing results. Like I said, week of Daytona, we are starting a preview show that will go up Thursday or Friday on the Facebook page. So make sure to check that out. You can follow me on Instagram at Travis Ridenauer. I post a lot of stuff. I basically have my 3Ds, 4Ds, whatever, dirt bikes, Disney, and Diana Dahlgren. I mean, who doesn't like that ass, right? But anyway, I do post when I'm at the race. I do post when I go racing personally, any sort of stuff like that. I also do, like I said, a lot of Disney stuff, which some of you might be into, some of you might not be. You don't have to follow it if you want to, cool, whatever. I also will post my picks for fantasy on there. I started doing that last night, so that'll be a Saturday thing for everybody to see now. As far as helping support the show, we are officially demonetized from YouTube because we don't have quite enough subscribers yet. So if you guys would hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, would totally help us out, and it would be great. If you don't want to do that, or if you've already done that and you still want to help support the show, click the Amazon links below. We get a small slice of that. I'll link up a couple things. You don't have to buy what I link you to. You can just go on there and buy anything you want to. I'd like to thank anybody who's bought stuff, because I know there have been some people that I think it's through this channel have bought stuff. So if you have gone on there and bought something through the link, thank you, really appreciate it. If you want to support us through Patreon, you can go, I'll link that down below, and I'll send you something. I don't know what, but I'll send you something. Sticker pack, t-shirt, you never really know. So also you can go to teespring.com, buy show t-shirts. I will link that in the description down below. It's just a basic shirt with the show logo on it, so if you guys want to go buy that, would be awesome also. Now let's get into Tampa talk here. The track they put in the sand section, and this was by far the highlight of this Tampa track. Now the track was really racy other places. There was the section, I believe it was before the sand, that there were the quads in the middle, and you could go anywhere and everywhere. Multiple different variations you could do, and it was great. It was great, I loved it. But the sand section was really the star of the night, because that's what caused the most problems. We saw Weston Pike go down, we saw several guys go down in practice and qualifying, and it was fantastic. It really was a separator. I almost wish they would do something like that at every track, because it was just that good for the race itself. And again, the separators too, with the being able to go 3, 3, 2, 3 quad, you know, 2, 2, 3, 3, 1. There were so many options going through that first section. It was amazing. So I wish we could kind of like bundle some of the best parts from like this and Phoenix and wherever else we've had great tracks, put them all together and really make it happen so that we just had great tracks every week. But unfortunately, I know we'll probably get some more that are iffy at best as we go through the rest of the year here. other than that, I mean, we were at a place that we hadn't been since, what, 1999? I think the last time we were there, Emick was racing. So that was kind of cool to see. It'll be interesting to see if they come back. I'm interested to hear the attendance numbers this week. I haven't heard that as of yet, but we'll see. So that was my thoughts on the track, and now we'll get into the 450s. So 450 talk, let's get into that. What a race we had. What a race, what a night. Let's start with Justin Hill. I mean, great opening night. How can you deny the fact that the kid obviously is cut out for a 450 ride? He won his heat race, first heat race ever, and he won it. That was great. In the main, came out, gets a good start, passes Eli Tomac, is going for the lead. Marv brake checks him in a corner. Little tip over, kind of took the wind out of the sails. I mean, but just overall a great night for him. So it'll be interesting to see going forward how he does. I'm still under the impression that if he starts to rattle off podiums and wins on the 450, do they even put him back on the 250 when we go back to the West Coast rounds? That I'm not really sure. I don't, if it's me and he's rattling off wins, podiums, whatever, he's staying on the 450, plain and simple. We'll find somebody else to put on the 250. But again, I'm not an insider, not a professional. I don't know what Suzuki has in store. No idea. So anyway, Marv looked really, really good last night, which I was kind of surprised because the whoops were a little bit bigger. So I thought he would struggle more, but actually looked really great. Again, got by Eli early there, and then Eli obviously got him back. Eli looked just fantastic last night. In the heat race, you could kind of tell he pulled up on Ando, backed off of Ando, couldn't quite get around Ando like super easy, but had picked his marks. You could almost see where he would reel him in real tight and then kind of let him go, which was pretty cool to see. And then you knew he was just sizing it up for the main, and come main time, great start, whole shot, held the inside, good to go, away he went. So I mean, he did get reeled in. He got passed by Marv. He got passed by Hill. But at the end of the night, regrouped halfway through the main, which was something strange that we don't usually see from Eli. Usually once Eli starts to get past, he tries to... I don't know why Justin doesn't just call me. Anyway, once Eli gets past, we see him kind of implode and he's done. But he didn't. He regrouped, came back, got the win in a pretty convincing fashion. Good night for him overall, I would say. So, I mean, what can you say? I think he's going to rattle off 10 wins. Justin doesn't think he's going to rattle off 10 wins this year, but he's won 4 of 8. We've got 9 races left. To say that he's going to win 6 out of the next 9, that's not completely out of the realm, I don't think. And as far as we're going, I mean, we have the curse of the second place. Cole Seeley last night moves into second place in points, eats shit hard in his heat race, breaks pelvis and tailbone, has surgery, emergency surgery today. Justin Barcia last week, second in points, gets landed on off the triple, hand surgery, out indefinitely. You had Kenny was second in points, wraps his hand in Webb's rear wheel, boom, pins in the hand, out for 8 weeks, minimal here until he gets the pins out. So we probably won't see him until outdoors. But it does beg the question: what is Honda going to do the rest of Supercross season? Are they not going to have any bikes on the track as far as the factory team goes, or who do they call up? I mean, do you bring Craig in? He's doing pretty well. Do you pull J Mart off the 250 because he's had 2 very subpar races in the first 2 rounds? I mean, I don't really know what you do. Let me get Justin on the phone here, and we will see what he says. He told me anytime today. I called him before I started the camera and he didn't answer. And now instead of calling me back, he just wants to text me.
What's up, man?
Hey, Justin, we're live. We're shooting the show right now. So who does Honda put on the bike for the rest of the year?
Who does Honda put on the bike for the rest of the year? I don't think there's anybody they can put on the bike for the rest of the year.
So Honda just has no HRC bikes on the track for the rest of Supercross.
I think the only people they can put on the bike for the next few rounds is either Craig or J-Mark, but that doesn't solve their issue when they go west.
Okay. So wait, so you think they pulled J-Mart off the 250, put him on the 450, and say, well, if you're going to struggle, we might as well have you in the 450 main, getting 10th place instead of in the 250 main, getting 10th place?
I don't know. It's hard to think that because he's still under Geico contract and they're paying him a lot of money. It wasn't like last year where they put him on the bike for one race. I think Honda's kind of screwed right now until outdoors.
I would agree with that. Because did you see Seeley's got broke pelvis, broke tailbone surgery today?
Yeah, I saw the pelvis thing like right after the 450 main.
Yep. So that's pretty much out there. So talk about Anderson's performance last night.
Talk about it. I mean, yeah, he rode good. You know, he killed in the heat race. Eli kind of threw everything at him that he could, and you know, he never wavered, and then in the main it just came down to him not getting a start. I mean, once he got into the third, he just kind of settled in. Marv and Eli were already gone, so there was not much he could do. Yep.
I already talked about Hill and talked about Marv, talked about the curse of the second place here, and how Marv will probably get hurt this week.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. He's gone quite a few races without hitting the ground.
I guess, but man, you got. I mean, we had Kenny was in second, wraps himself up in Webb's rear wheel, pins in a hand, out for minimal 8 weeks. Then you have Barsha in second, gets landed off the triple, hand surgery, out indefinitely. Now you have Cole in second, crashes in the heat, pelvis and tailbone surgery, out indefinitely. I mean, it's not boding well. If there's one place I don't want to be in the 450 class right now, it's second place in points.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that kind of stuff is all coincidental. I mean, it's getting to be the point where it almost seems like it's the curse of second place. But also, let's go back and look at those incidences. The only reason Kenny got hurt is because he let his ego get the best of him. Barsha was in a no-win situation and couldn't control powers landing on him. And Seeley was the only one that you could really say was, you know, it was just his fault. He couldn't get the pop to get over the three in the middle. I mean, yeah, it all seems like, you know, if people believe in karma or curses and stuff like that, that would be the case. But also, let's be real, you know, some of that stuff was just, it was either forced by their issue or just out of their hands. So, I don't know. I don't think Marv has anything to worry about. He's been riding good the last couple rounds, and the difference between Marv and a lot of those other guys is he's a lot smoother than them. He doesn't usually, unless it's the whoop section, hit the ground.
Were you impressed by Marv last night with how big those whoops were?
No, because it was very visible that he was, that's where Eli was making up time. And I still think that Marv got a little bit screwed by the lappers. You know, he was so much slower than Eli in the whoops that, you know, you could maybe say, yeah, he was holding them up a little bit in that track. Everybody was kind of doing the same thing other than the sand section and the rhythm section. But he had to be right behind Eli. He had to be latched onto him when they went into the whoop section, and that left-hander before the step out over the table, you know, the lapper got in his way where he had to check up pretty hard, and then you knew that once they got into the whoops, Eli was going to gap him by a couple bike lengths, and, you know, that was Marv's downfall last night. I can honestly say that other than the whoops, if those whoops would have been where you could rhythm through, where there's a little bit more gap from the backside to the face, I wouldn't be so sure that Eli wins by as much as he did last night, because Eli pressured Marv, and Marv had an answer for him. Eli even goes around Marv, and Marv gets back around them. So I think that if the whoops weren't as bad as they were last night, I'm not so sure Eli was that much better than Marv was. I really don't. I mean, Marv had a little bit smoother line selection than Eli, where Eli was just kind of banging through, and especially that 180 before the tunnel, when Marv was staying super tight and getting away from that deep rut, so the back end didn't start bouncing around, where he actually made the pass. I was super impressed that he could keep the bike on the rope right there and not drop into the rut. That was very impressive to me.
Did you like that sand section last night?
I think that there's some variations in it. I think that if you were to ask most guys, I think they would hate it. But, I mean, Anderson had the best line for sure. He definitely did. Going single, wheel tap, double, and then just floating the rear end through. That was smooth. I don't know. When you throw that much beach sand in there with Supercross settings that are that stiff, it's always going to be sketchy. But I think going into the day, a lot of guys are struggling. But I think by the main, other than maybe the 250 class, I think most of the 450 guys, even the guys at the back, had it pretty much figured out.
I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic.
It was good.
I think we need triple crown.
Any more sand into the 180s, because that would have definitely, especially before that triple, that would have made things interesting. But I think that they realized that they had already brought so much sand in that there wouldn't have been a lot left to put in some of the corners.
I think we need triple crown format and beach sand straightaways at every single round. It'd be glorious.
I mean, it definitely it made things interesting. I mean, you had to get through it smooth, and the thing was, if you didn't get over that second one, we either got all the way over it, or if you were somebody like Anderson who was kind of wheel tap riding the rear wheel through it, you definitely blew all your momentum. I mean, you had to be precise every lap, so it was good there, but I don't know. I feel like if you're going to go that much sand in one section, you might as well start throwing sand in some corners and stuff, because you've already brought in a shitload of sand. Why not just add more other places? Because I don't know, it seems kind of like a waste just to do it for one section and then not add it anywhere else, which we've seen that with some tracks this year, that they haven't really, they strayed away from their original designs.
Yeah, and speaking of glorious, how about those Steve Mathis memorial nets? Saving Blake Baggett's life.
Blake Baggett's life.
That was so awesome. Spider-Man hanging in the net with his bike, just ready for action.
So, since I got on this call a little bit late, which was my fault, I was doing something when you called. You said you already talked about Hill.
Yes, I did.
What did you think of? What's that?
What did I think of Hill? I thought that it definitely was a breakout ride. It showed that he could do it in the 450s. And then I also made some comments that I think if he starts rattling off podiums and wins, they just keep him on the 450 instead of moving him back to the 250, because at the end of the day, that's really, in the industry, what matters is the 450 deal. Even though I know he's running the 1 on the 250 and they're trying to build that program, and we've been having this conversation for the last hour through the group text, but I still think that the better move, especially like I said, if he is rattling off podiums and wins, which there's a very high possibility he could after the performance he put in last night, that he stays 450 for the rest of the year, at least until they go outdoors.
So I won't really get into it because you kind of summed up, and obviously we were a little bit more extended on that, so I won't get into all that stuff because we've already talked about it. So I guess I'll just ask you the one question, and because you know how I feel about Hill, I echo that sentiment except even more. What do you think happens? And I know you said you're not really sure if he could run the pace, but also, once again, Hill hasn't really been a guy that's been known for getting tired, at least in Supercross. Outdoors is different because we know he doesn't put in the effort outdoors compared to Supercross. So, say that incident with Marv doesn't happen, you know, he doesn't square down and Marv brake checks him, and for all, pretty much for what it looks like, I think Hill goes around Marv. Now, whether he keeps staying with him, he stays in front of him and Marv doesn't run him wide, or, you know, starts getting aggressive with him, that's different. But I think come that session, Hill was going to square down underneath him, and then he was going to square off of him, going over the step onto the table, and then off. What do you think Hill gets if he doesn't go down? Do you think, I know you don't think he wins, but do you still think he stays on the box?
I would say he'd be on the box, maybe 4th at most, because maybe Anderson gets around him and gets on the box just like he was anyway. Depending upon if and how much he fades, because like I said, with what he did last night, I'm 75% in on him, because obviously he had a great heat race, so he showed that he has the speed to run with those guys. My concern still is, does he have the speed and the cardio to run with those guys for 20+1? That's the only question I have, because we obviously saw he could do it for, what was it, 8 minutes in before he got brake checked in the corner by Marv or something. So he did almost the first half of the race. Yeah, so he did almost the first half of the race, which was great, but again, once you get into that second 10 minutes, that's when you start, because I mean, hell, we've seen Mike Alessi and Vince Freeze running in the top 3 to 5 for the first 10 minutes of the race. I mean, It's
I agree with that.
It's the second 10 that really makes it.
Try to run that pace on a 450, and having his fitness for the 250, and especially having only a week, even though he does ride the 450 in his spare time. But the difference with him, and I get where the comparison, the speed with the lefty and threes, you eventually knew that those guys were going to get dropped. I think Hill showed last night, and I know, I won't go so far as to say he was going to win that race. And I even said that in the group chat because you just don't know if he was going to hit the wall. But speed-wise, I think he exceeded a lot of people's expectations because even I said, and I'm a Hill supporter, and I've said it many times on the show, hell, I thought he was going to win the West Coast title again, that I thought his speed was good, but top 5 would have been good in my opinion, even with the reduced field. The fact that he goes out, catches, passes, and gaps Marv by a little bit in the heat race, and then basically probably going to go around him, even surprised me, which, like I said, I'm a very big Hill supporter, so I think that has got to be a big confidence boost for anybody that doubted Hill on a 450.
Yeah, and again, I thought the ride was pretty good. But, I mean, if you looked at him after that heat race, you could tell he had put some energy into that heat race, where when you get into the top guys like Eli, you get Marv up there, you get Anderson, you get Kenny. When they're done with the heat race, they look like they just went for a stroll down the street. So that's where I run.
They train for that, though. Hill's not used to running that pace. And I get it, and once again, I'm not arguing the comparison because it is correct. But I think that Hill was a little bit antsy, which is deserved. I mean, your first 450 race, he was begging. I almost think in his mind, he thinks that if he goes out and bombs and even gets 10th, he's looking like an idiot. And I will agree with people that said that. I will agree. If he's, hey, I need to be on a 450, and he's on 450, I don't want, and then he goes out and gets 10th, and he's just not fast enough, it makes him look pretty bad. So I think that he was just amped up, he killed it in time practice, and he went out and he was definitely feeling the flow. But maybe he was riding a little bit tight. I think if you go to Atlanta this weekend, and obviously with the great event in Maine, I don't think that's much of an issue. But that's, once again, I'm a Hill supporter. I was even surprised. I'll just leave it at that. I didn't think he was going to be that fast. I was definitely surprised.
Yep. So that was definitely a good day. Anything else with the 450s that really stood out to you last night?
No, it seems like with the way this season's going in the 450 class, we're going to have like 20 guys on the gate come Vegas.
Yeah. All the privateers that show up are making the main.
Exactly. Everybody who's riding whatever brand they're riding for, because there's no factory riders left other than Eli Tomac and Jason Anderson.
Yep. So, all right, cool. Well, that works 450s out then, and we'll move on to 250s. All right, so 250 class last night was once again kind of wild. You had a lot of good rides. First time winner, Faulkner. Ferrandis put in a great ride. Zach rounded out another podium. Still 5 points up on Faulkner in second place. But Faulkner's definitely tightening that gap up, and as we saw last night, he can definitely run that pace for the whole main. So this is gonna make this 250 East season's gonna be interesting, to say the least. Somewhat like the West. I feel like it's kind of gonna be like a who wants to win it thing almost here.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the East is shaping up to be a lot better than the West. I mean, we've had a lot of parity on the West, but I think that once the guys, whoever, other than the last round in San Diego, whoever gets out front usually kind of starts the gap a little bit. I mean, granted, the race to the lead has been pretty good, but then once that guy gets out front, where I think in this East race, or this East series, I don't know if we really know who is the fastest week in and week out. Very impressed with Faulkner, though. A lot of people know that I'm not a Faulkner guy because I don't like his attitude. You know, he's kind of like what Hasty was when he came in. You know, the golden child, everything handed to him. You know, kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say he doesn't appreciate what he has, but I think that he shows a lack of humbleness, I would say. But I always said that if he could finally figure it out, learn to back it down when necessary, he was going to get wins. And winning your first is always the hardest. Well, we didn't really get to see what would happen in last weekend in Arlington because Zacho took him out in the main. and he came in fired up, and he proved that, you know, first lap. He ran it on Zacho, and, you know, he got the lead, and he sprinted and put a little bit of gap, and, you know, I was thinking the same thing as you, and I know you texted me. I don't know if you were a little bit late compared to my broadcast, but you said something about him pumping up, and I was, like, watching it, and I'm like, oh, Frenchie's closing, you know, and he had that, the rhythm section after the start dialed, compared with Fortner was kind of up and down, and I go, maybe Fortner does pump up. Frenchie looks good, and, man, once Brenda's closed the gap, you know, Fortner, he dropped the hammer again, and I don't know, man. It's still way too early because you got to do, you know, a couple more times, but this isn't like last year. You know, Zacho, you know, he's not the big dog. He still is he's the points leader, and he still has that one plate, and he's the reigning champion, and he won a bunch of races last year, but I'll say it to you again, man. Think about those 5 rounds that he lost last year. So the first round was Savatgy in Minneapolis. He caught Joey, and I even said it. You know, Joey won, but Zacho caught him. Made some mistakes. Go to Detroit. Zacho has the brake issue and gets pushed in the first turn. Then you go to St. Louis the next weekend, and we hear that he has a bug. And then Vegas, we all know what happened there. So I think you can say, other than Daytona last year, all those races were debatable whether Zacho was going to win them had he not had his issues. There was no time last year where Zacho got straight up caught and passed. And I know that we go back and forth because I'm not a Zacho guy and you are, but Zacho didn't have a bad night last night. I know that you could say he did, and, you know, I don't know. He said he did. I thought I heard him say that he was off, but there was no indication that Zacho was riding bad. He was good. It's not like he was making mental mistakes there and there. He just got passed. And I think that maybe a lot of people aren't used to that because how well he was last year, but, man, if Fortner goes on a roll here and he wins in Atlanta this weekend, you know, they got some. Zacho's in trouble because last year, I don't know, man. I was always on the fence. I didn't want him to win, but everybody knew he was faster. This year, it's pretty clear he's not the fastest guy.
Yeah, no, he even said, like, on the podium and in the press conference last night, he felt better about last night's race than he did about week 1. So him not looking good, not looking as fresh, not looking as on point as the first week, that's all coming from me from what I've seen. But he said, and like I said, you can go back and watch it in the press conference and on the podium, he said that he felt his racecraft was better and he was better. He's like, I just straight up got beat by what's his name, Fortner and Frenchie there. So yes, so I mean, I don't know. All I know is he's got his hands full with Fortner, definitely, which we kind of knew coming in because we'd all seen videos on Instagram and stuff, which is a little bit hard to judge, but he looked really, really good. And we knew last year that he had speed. 100%. Yeah, and then
he's not even 100%.
And then Ferrandis, we all knew that he was going to be good because he surprised us all last year. So yeah, I don't know, man. I still think Zach wins the title, but I'm with you on the point of it's not easy for him. Well, not as easy as last year where he was, you know, the big bad wolf hunting people down all the time. So.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just think that, you know, and I'll stand by it. You know, when you win your first, that's one thing when you're not expecting, but it's a whole different when you come in, and that's why we'll get a preview show. I said it's different when you have the expectations, and, you know, like I said last year, it's not going to happen like we did with Savatgy. You know, he got into Joey's head, and we all knew it. It was very clear. But, you know, last year when Zacho ran it in on guys, he gapped them because he depleted their confidence. You know, they'd be pushing right on the edge, and Zacho would pass them like they were standing still. Well, Frenchie and Fortner gapped him. I mean, Frenchie sat back and he made some mistakes. Even Zacho got away from him a little bit, and then Frenchie passed him, and Zacho stood with him for 2.5 laps, and then he got dropped. And I don't know, man. I know it's only 2 races, but you got to think. Fortner got 7th last week. Zacho won. It's only 5 points now. I have to believe that if Fortner doesn't go down last week, Zacho's not your points leader right now.
Could be. Could be. So, how did you like how Karma jumped up and slapped Jordan Smith right in the pecker at the end of the race?
I feel bad for that kid, man. I mean, 2 6th places in a row. You know, he had bad starts on both the mains, so I don't think we've true. He's actually, for the most part, he's had bad starts pretty much every time he's been on track in a race through 2 rounds. So I don't think we've really gotten a chance to see how good he is. Yeah, that just, well, same place that he claimed J-Mar earlier in the main and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I took Jordan to win the title, and it's still early because last year I think he was in 4th in the points after 2 rounds. I don't know. So it's still early, and we also what happened came down to the end in Vegas and stuff. It was just a bad night for some guys. I mean, even Martin, you know, he won his heat race, looked good in practice, hit the deck a couple times, looked great. I thought he was going to win. Gets a bad start in the main, and just couldn't really find a flow. Looked like he was on edge of hitting the ground every time he was, you know, every lap. I don't know. It was just a gnarly track, in the sense, especially for the 250s and stuff. But I don't think we have a clear picture of what this series looks like, because once again, we got to see Fortner and Ferrandis up front, but we haven't gotten to see Jordan or Martin get a start in the main yet. So it's like we think we have a good idea of what things are going to be like for the rest of the series, but I don't know if we really do. I want to see all these guys get a start and see what they can do. And who knows? Maybe Fortner, Ferrandis, and Osborne are the fastest guys, but you got to believe Martin wins 2 heat races in a row, and then almost kills himself in the first one, and then a bad start in the second one against Finn. So it's like, you know, have we seen him, the best of him in the main? And, you know, obviously with Jordan, just bad starts, so.
Yeah, well, I've told you in the group chat, and I still think this, these East guys need to settle her down here, because otherwise they're all going to kill each other off before we even get to the Indianapolis East-West shootout, because they're all just way too tightly wound at this point. But other than that, I mean, Jordan Smith, are Jordan Smith and J-Mart the Cole Seeley, Jason Anderson of this era here, where they just seem to find each other on the track and bad things just seems to kind of happen between the two of them? Because, I mean, you had last week, last lap, Smith takes Martin out. Then you had this week, Smith throws that whip at Martin over the triple, and Martin moves to the left to kind of miss his rear wheel so he won't cause them both to wreck. Jumps off the side of the track and crashes. And then you have freaking Karma bites Smith in the ass there at the end of the race, and he does the exact same thing, jumps off the side of the triple and crashes on the side of the track. And then J-Mart crashed again last night. Where did he crash the second time? I don't even remember.
Lucurcio got loose in front of him in the whoops, and
yes.
J-Mart had nowhere to go.
Yes, that was it. That kid just has no Supercross luck whatsoever. It's like
no, and the weird thing about the J-Mart and Smith thing, I don't even know where that comes from, because these guys have never really had a problem with each other up until this year. I mean, I don't get where this heat is. I don't know if it's just in the moment and you just get so zoned in on wanting to move forward that neither of them care. But these guys have never had a problem. For the most part, they have never really even raced each other. Yeah, in the series, but it's not like these two have battled each other, you know, since they went pro. So I don't really know where this rivalry's coming from. And also, I want to know where the issue with RJ and Fortner are, because this is the second main in a row that RJ gets a start, and Fortner goes after him, and then RJ tries to retaliate and go after him. I don't know where that comes from either.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, like I said, settle her down, because I think Fortner's just tightly wound as I got to prove to everyone that I'm the best. And what's going to end up happening is he's going to end up being overly aggressive, much like Zach was last week, and somebody's going to put him on his ass, is what's going to happen. Because let's face it, Fortner is not a big bad dude.
What's that?
Fortner is not a big bad dude. He is a fast kid, but when push comes to shove, okay, that's enough. Thank you. Sorry, these boats are honking at each other. But when push comes to shove, Fortner is kind of a little bitch and could get put on his ass.
I will agree. Fortner is obviously not the biggest guy in stature, but and I do agree with he needs to calm down. He needs to stop getting into it with privateers in practice. You know, I definitely agree with that. I will not dispute any of that. But the difference with Fortner and any other guy that does this is you nailed it on the head. He's a kid. He's an exuberant kid. And he's proven that he has no qualms about trying to run it in on the big boys. And he proved that in the main right away with Zacho. He went right for the throat, which all of last year, everybody was kind of afraid of Zacho because, you know, Zacho was a big bad wolf and everybody else was in his way. So I will say that Austin does need to tone it down a little bit, but I'll say on the flip side that he's proven he has no problems with if somebody gets into it with him, that he'll tee him up and he won't think twice about it. And I don't know. I think it could bite him, but I don't think it'll matter at this point if he gets a start and he gaps like that. I mean, it's not going to really matter because, I mean, nobody will be able to keep up with him.
Yeah, that's true. Dude, how about the LCQ with Hartranft, like, almost not making it, or almost in, and then eats it, and then still almost makes it in because, what was it, Tennant and whoever else there?
John Short.
Yes. Yes, freaking just take him out again. Oh, God. The end of that LCQ was epic. For what I thought was going to be a boring end to that race, ended up being just phenomenal. So,
I definitely feel bad for Brandon.
Yeah. Anything else 250 wise you want to talk about before I wrap this up?
No, I was just going to thought we could end the show with who are winners in each class in the mains next week in the Triple Crown.
Oh, God, do we got to pick for all three, or are we just picking the overall?
I was going to pick all three because that's what we did last time.
Oh, Jesus, this is going to be hard. You go first.
250s, and I'll even pinpoint each one. 250s, I think Zacho wins the first one. I think Frenchie wins the second one, and Fortner wins the third one, and ultimately Fortner gets the overall. And then for 450s, I will go Hill wins the first one, Ando wins the second one, and Eli wins the third one. And I think by consistency, I think Ando will win, because I think at some point these starts with Eli are gonna eventually go away, and why wouldn't it happen at the Triple Crown?
Okay. I'm gonna go with for the 250s. I think Zach wins the first two, and I think Frenchie wins the third one. But I'm gonna say that Fortner wins the overall by consistency. That's where I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna say he goes like 2-2-3 or 2-2-2 and wins it over the other two. Then in the big class, oh boy, I'm gonna go with Hill wins the first one. I'm gonna go with man, I think Anderson wins the second one, and I think Eli wins the third one, but I think Eli is gonna win the overall. Well, no, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna say Anderson wins the overall because he's just consistent enough. Yes. So.
Okay, so my question is that, because we've all been talking about this and going back and forth, and we all have different opinions on the group chat of this whole Anderson-Tomac, but I think we're all still in agreement that Anderson wins this title, because unless he just straight up, something out of his control happens to him, he's going to win this title. It doesn't matter what Eli does, even if Eli does go on a win streak. But do we agree that at some point Eli and Ando are going to go get into it? Because me and Matt talked about this on the phone a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week. But at some point, those two are going to get into it, right?
Yes, they're going to go 1-2 on the start, and Ando is going to get hot and think he can walk him, and Eli's going to play Big Bad Wolf and be like, I don't think you can there, kid. You might as well just back her down because I'm the fastest cowboy on this Supercross track, and away they're going to go. And it's going to be awesome.
But I don't think if they get into a pissing match, Eli wins that, to be honest. I get what you're saying about the speed thing, but I'm talking about if they get into a pissing match, I just don't think Eli wins that battle, man. I think right now, Anderson in the 450 class, even if everybody was in there, if you want to talk about going tit for tat, Ando's the last guy in the class that you want to deal with when it comes to that stuff.
No, I totally think Eli wins it, because I think Eli's pissed off that this year is not going the way he thought it should have gone, which is he should have had 4 wins in the points lead. And if you notice, Eli has been definitely running these guys higher and farther into the corners. I mean, he hasn't straight T-boned people, a la Jason Anderson, Bam Bam Barsha style, but he still is definitely way more aggressive, especially after he kind of wasn't last year and lost that title. So yeah, no, I think, and I even would go so far as to say, if we do get a race like that, and say in the first 5 minutes they're going back and forth, and Ando gets pissy and like straight takes out Eli's front wheel, Eli gets up, rebounds back, and just demolishes him off a berm. Which if Anderson is smart which I don't think any of us really think he is, he doesn't do that the rest of the year. He doesn't get in a pissing match with Eli. He doesn't try to do any of that stuff because you have a guy that has literally nothing to lose. He's not going to win the title, obviously, unless something major happens. And the only thing major that could happen is you get in a pissing match with him and he puts you off a berm and you get hurt and get a DNF. And all of a sudden now your 30-point lead is now 6 or 5 or whatever, you know. And then, oh shit, now my title hopes are like not as good as they were because now I've got all these other guys that are right there. So I think the smart move for Anderson is just to, if he is not clearing away the fastest, just to let people go. But I don't believe, and I've told you this before, I don't believe for a second that he's that smart with it. He's not, as Dungey-esque as his performance has been this year, he's not Ryan Dungey. And when he thinks he can win, he's going to go for it. And like I said, the last person you want to get in a battle with right now is Eli Tomac, who has no title shot whatsoever at this point, because he will put you over the berm as far as I'm concerned, because he's been pushed around so much and he's finally to that point in his career where he's like, I don't even care. I don't have a title shot. I'm tired of getting pushed around, and I'll push you right back around. And I mean, dude, we saw it last year. He went through all last year where he was kind of the nice guy and didn't really, you know, force the passes until we got to Vegas, and then he's bunching and literally taking Dungey off of every single berm he can as soon as Dungey tries to make a move on him. I mean, I think Eli Tomac flipped the page. Not so aggressive that he's going to straight, you know, take your tip fib out, but he's not going to get pushed around anymore.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. I agree with that. I'm just in the mindset that I think that if that does happen, which I hope for Ando's sake he doesn't do it, and throw this championship away, just for his sake alone. Not that I want him to win. I think he's going to still, but not that I want him to. I just hope for his sake, because it could be a big jump in his career to win this title. But I just think that if that's going to happen, that's the last guy you'd want to get into it with. But if I'm Jason Anderson right now, and I'm still standing by what I said in the group text about the heat race, I'm pissed that I didn't win last night, because I feel that Anderson was the fastest guy. I don't care what Eli did in the main. It was the heat race, and he threw everything at Ando, and Ando had an answer for him. And I know we could say, oh, the heat race, and he backed it down. But Eli is also one of those guys that isn't known for backing it down if he can win a race. And I just feel that if I'm Anderson, I'm pissed that I got third last night. Maybe to him it doesn't matter because he still got the points lead by a huge margin. But unlike last weekend, where no matter what, Eli was going to win, I think Anderson gets a start in that main, and Eli doesn't win that race. I think Anderson wins. I don't think he wins by a lot, but I don't think Eli was faster than him. I just don't. Not like last weekend. Plain and simple.
All right, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see how Atlanta plays out here and how the rest of the season plays out. So, in that case, we've been long enough on this, so I'll wrap this up. This has been another episode of the Moto Aftermath Show presented by TLR Coatings. Please go visit them, tlrcoatings.com. Link down below in the description. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Support us on Patreon. Click the Amazon links. Go to Teespring. We will see you guys next week after Atlanta round to talk about all the action that comes from the second Triple Crown race of the year. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.